Hello everyone and welcome to the Constructive Criticism Network. This network is here to help you improve at Magic the Gathering at every level. From Pauper Leagues to Top 1000 Mythic, we've got you covered. If you want to hear the entire network, head on over to our sponsor at puremtgo.com, where you can hear each and every show, each and every week, and check out their sponsor, MTGO Traders, and tell them that the CCMTG Network sent you. Now sit back, enjoy the show. From YouTube, podcasts, and more, here's this week's episode from ConstructiveCriticism.com. Hello everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Mythicast. This is episode 51, and I am your host, Spencer, joined just like every week by my co-host, a woman who likes giving advice to companies who make games that she enjoys, Mikaela Downs.
Hello, y'all.
I don't know if that'll be released by the time this is released, but...
Oh, it definitely will not be released.
So stay tuned to Mikaela's TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Mikaela, I'm glad we get to talk this week. We are changing our schedule for recording to accommodate my life, and so we're kind of recording on our new time, which is pretty close to when we would normally record anyway. Usually I move it to Wednesday anyway, so just moving it to Tuesdays, like, not that different.
Yeah, we just split the difference. So.
Yeah, exactly. I want to give a quick shout out to our patrons. If you want to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/mythicast. You can support the show directly if you get the chance. It means the world to us. We understand, times are tough right now out there, and we get that. So, don't feel any pressure. If you want to support the show and don't have the funds, give us a like here on YouTube if you're watching there, or give us a review on iTunes or wherever you're listening. It really does help the show out. And also check out our sponsor over at puremtgo.com. And our other sponsor with a new link in the show notes, over at Grey Viking Games. If you look in the show notes wherever you're listening, you'll find our affiliate link. And if you like arena cards, they're a great place to get them. And if you like MTGO cards, our sponsor at Pure MTGO, which is MTGO Traders, is a great place to do that. We are looking for Mythic guests right now, so if you tweet us with #ReadyForBattle or or just your normal Mythic tweets, we are looking for at least one guest in the next. We just had back-to-back guests, so it'll probably be like in the next 3 weeks. So let us know if you hit Mythic this season, so we can get you on. With all of that out of the way, Mikaela, I kind of sped through that this week. This week we're talking about what?
Jumpstart Historic Horizons.
That's a weird name, right?
Is that actually what it's called? I didn't read.
You're looking at my show notes, right?
I am.
That is what it's called.
Okay.
You're like, Spencer, did you mess this up? No, that's what it's called. It's a little weird to me that let's just get this little piece out of the way. This set or product is kind of weird to me. It seems to be aimed at a lot of different audiences. Like, it seems to be aimed at getting people into Limited with a limited experience. It's aimed at historic players for cards that are in historic. It's aimed at casual players for, like, a more casual... Like, it's just...
Like, trying to make Brawl happen on Arena?
I guess. I don't know. It's just, like... It's aimed at so many people. It's very interesting to me. So...
I mean, I think what we're seeing is we're getting a lot of that flavor of Modern Horizons 2 in here. So... That's Modern Horizons 2 did a lot of that, and as a result, we're seeing that some of that come to Arena.
I guess Jumpstart Historic Horizons is just like it's a lot of things. Before we get into this, though, Mikaela, we're going to talk about the 5 cards that excited us the most. I don't think either of us really. I mean, first of all, this set's kind of hard to dissect because it's hard to figure out what cards aren't in historic, what cards are going to impact the format. But we're just going to talk about kind of 5 cards that we wanted to talk about rather than a definitive top 10 or top 5 list. These are things that we just thought would be interesting to bring up on the show and talk about.
Should we do a quick talk about some things that are different about the set?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so this is the first introduction of arena-only cards. So there's going to be new abilities that are basically only possible on an online client, which is new, and it'll be really interesting to see how people react to that.
Yeah, it also changed kind of like the design space they were able to use.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even when reading some of the Planeswalkers, I was like, I don't know what conjure means. Like, what does this mean, and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know how that space is used, and it was funny because when it was announced, there was like controversy around it, and I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it was because people really wanted to play Historic in paper because they really liked the format, and so I don't know. It was a controversial thing that they did, but it's what they did, and I think some of the cards are cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
And I'm glad they opened up
It'll
this
be.
space. To be honest, like I do think that it shows that they're willing to push the boundaries of what's possible on Arena, and I do like that.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Pushing the boundaries is great, and if this is something that doesn't work out, or there is this desire for this more of like extended type format in paper, that
I mean,
door's still open.
I have a pretty good win percentage in old extended, or in the extended, but so I'll take extended. Like we can do that. Um, let's go into our first segment before we kind of dive into those cards, though, and that's our hashtag Ready for Battle segment. That's the thing that we try to do on this podcast is help our listeners be ready for battle. Whether you've got an SEG this weekend, you're trying to get Mythic, you've got a draft coming up, we want to make sure that you're ready for that you feel prepared for that. And Mikaela and I, we're not any different from that. Like we have things that we need to do to prepare ourselves. Whether Mikaela's playing in a streamer tournament or uh, oh my gosh, is it? I'm gonna say it wrong. It's VLM, right?
VML.
VML. I knew I was gonna say it wrong. Uh, but yeah, like Mikaela's got the tournaments that she's preparing for. I'm trying to prepare for this podcast usually, as well as other things. It's not like it's any different for us. And so each week we want to when we have the chance to kind of share the things that we've been doing, Mikaela. And I think the show notes has me going first. Yeah, and this week. So last week I talked about how I was playing Naya and I played a bunch of Sultai, and I kind of wanted to round out the decks in the format to have a really clear understanding of Standard before it went away. And also, like, I don't know that I had gotten all of my fill of adventure cards yet. As much as I played a lot of Gruul and stuff like that. I feel like I haven't gotten my fill of Left Strike Beast, and now I'm gonna miss it. So I took some time. Jabberwocky took second in the Magic Online Challenge, losing to none other than Andy, who won both challenges this weekend. What a stud! Like, dude comes on our show, straight up is like, yeah, I'm gonna top 8 both, probably win them, and he just does it. But yeah, so go ahead.
Oh, I was called shots.
Yeah, just absolutely nuts. So I took Jabberwocky's list, and have been playing mostly that, Naya Adventures, a deck that I've already played a lot of. We've even talked about me playing it on the show. And, I plan on going through the Gruul deck splashing black, the Gruul deck splashing blue, just kind of everything in the format this week. And I've already come to appreciate kind of the things that other decks have taught me, like learning, playing a bunch of Winota, even though I thought the deck was bad, actually definitely has won me games against Winota already, on the sides of Sultai, on the sides of this deck. Playing a ton of Sultai also won me a match against Sultai today. I text Andy because I had played Sultai. I just demolished the guy. I was like, "How did you beat Jabberwocky?" Like that felt like a buy for me. He's like, "Oh, Naya's one of my best matchups." Played against it again, and it turns out that Elspeth's Nightmare, or not Elspeth's Nightmare, yeah, Elspeth's Nightmare is just actually insane against Naya Adventures, which probably shouldn't have surprised me, but yeah, I just kind of talking to other people about the format and also broadening my knowledge of this format has been really interesting this week, especially since I've been so focused on, I'd say, like 3 specific decks in this format in Mono Green, Naya, Winota, and Sultai. And I might actually see if I have time to play see if there's any upcoming SCGs that I can hit up in Standard before it rotates now. So, what about you?
Kind of a little bit different this week for me. So not so much play, but future looking. I actually looked at, what cards am I going to expect to see in Standard this next year, and started picking up some singles. So I can be prepared to play in some paper tournaments, actually have cards for that, and not be paying whatever price I'd have to pay in 3 months when somebody puts them in a deck. So
nice. Any hot tips for the listeners that you want to share?
I don't see Elrond's Epiphany going anywhere, so I picked up a couple of those. I think they're about $7 right now. A lot of dollar rares out there right now. A lot of the lands are just a couple bucks, so definitely worth picking up right now, in my opinion. We don't know what the lands are going to look like for the next set. I don't think yet. I mean, I know we know what the basic lands are going to look like.
Those are hot.
So, they are pretty hot.
Nice.
So yeah, a little bit of that. I think having a playset of Goldspan Dragons is not a bad idea. I really don't. Kaldheim, Zendikar, and Strixhaven, I really don't think we saw a lot of packs of those opened in general. So I think getting ahead and not.
I
not missing out on the supply.
I play a game at Oasis when I go in, whenever I can. It's Little Bank. I'm not sure if you played it, but it's basically worst rare wins all the cards. And every time we play, people want to play with like all kinds of interesting sets. I'm like, no, I just want to play with next year's standard. Like, I don't think enough of this has been opened. I mean, I want the cards next year, and I'm the same way. It's like, eventually the world's gonna get better, Mikaela, and we're gonna get to play Paper and Magic again. So, I have a question for you about kind of this ready for battle moment for you though. I in the past have done this a lot where, people obviously what I don't remember what it was called on Arena, the 2022 or standard or whatever they called it, was super popular. Did you go looking at those lists, or did you come up with like just looking at the sets overall and just, this card seems like it could be powerful, fits a niche, this card, like how did you kind of do it?
Yeah, I haven't played a lot of standard 2022. I know the 3/3 Wolf is probably a very reasonable card to pick up. But a lot of them are just like, what have been the cards that really shine through in the standard? Because we're looking at standard with Throne of Eldraine. So we're seeing cards that are going into current standard that were powerful enough to fit into this format. It's probably a good place to start looking.
So like the Manlands, the Rangers class, stuff like that. Chariot. Oh, wait, is Chariot?
Chariot's only a couple bucks.
Oh, that's a good pickup then.
Yeah, got some of those.
Nice.
Yeah, but like I think Elrond's Epiphany was like a big one for me, and like Goldspan Dragon. Those are like two very obvious ones, but having a Velky, Professor Onyx on hand. There's another Planeswalker I'm missing too. Oh, Kaya.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Nice. So just those types of cards. I think a few of the two-sided cards. Redain, I believe, is a link.
Oh, sure, the god, the one that the 4-mana artifact in their side, sure.
Mm-hmm. I do know with the D&D set, apparently it's been super popular with D&D players, so they've actually had a lot of trouble keeping singles in stock.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I did not expect that, but it's been popular, so.
That's good. Cool. Well, thanks for the tips. Should we move on to our 5 cards that excite us in? Let me pull up my notes. Yes, Jumpstart Historic. I'm gonna make fun of it the whole episode. Should we do yours first?
Yeah, why not?
Cool. I will pull up your cards on the screen now if you're watching on YouTube. And yeah, if you're listening at home, why don't you read them off for him?
I'm going to be awkwardly looking at my other screen to read this card.
That's okay.
Ranger, Captain of Eos. 1 white creature, human soldier. When Ranger, Captain of Eos, enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost 1 or less. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Sacrifice Ranger, Captain of Eos. Your opponent can't cast non-creature spells this turn. And it's a 3/3. So, yeah, I think usually these tutor effects can be fairly powerful. I don't know where Historic is right now, if this is an effect that's going to see enough play. I don't know how mono white is in Historic. I don't know how that had been super popular recently.
Ranger of Eos saw a ton of play in the Serra Ascendant life gain decks and other decks. This card, you can hit it off of Collected Company, and like, I think this card's just better, just in the format. I expect this card to see a lot of play.
Yeah, I think especially if you know like your opponent has like a wrath or something coming up too. That
Yeah,
could be
just getting to
super relevant.
silence your opponent's important spells at instant speed.
Mm-hmm,
Just during after the draw step seems really powerful.
for sure.
Do
Should I keep
you?
going? Oh,
Oh,
or you have more?
no, I just curious. Like, there's not a lot of creature combo, and I know a lot of people really like this card for those decks. Is there anything that like you specifically wanted to grab with this? No,
Nothing. Nope.
just
I just
value. You're just addicted to
yeah.
value. I like it. I
Nope.
like it.
I just want to when I play a card, I want to go get another card.
You could get your next card.
Mm-hmm. I could, and that is Esper Sentinel, which actually, yeah, these two do work quite well together. It's a single white mana, artifact creature, human soldier. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw the card unless that player pays X, where X is Esper Sentinel's power. So this card, like, I think it's supposed to be like it's pretty good in modern as a Modern Horizons 2 card, but I could see it being pretty impactful in historic. It's probably not very hard to get it pumped to make that pay, and then like just being that creature deck, be able to refill your hand quicker, seems really good.
Okay, so I'm trying to read this again. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card unless the player plays X, where X is its power. Mm-hmm. So it's like a heuristic study on a creature for whenever your opponent plays non-creatures. That seems fine. I also think that it's not hard to pump this in lots of different decks. Like, I mean, even like if we're going off the same mono white deck we just talked about, right? Like Heliod pumps this thing up real big.
Yep.
So that's interesting. I like that. It's also like even if it's just a one of with that card, like it's nice to just be able to get that in matchups where you want it.
Yeah, it's definitely a card I'm interested to see what people can do with it in historic.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Seems like it can be that card that's just annoying, especially for control players.
Yeah, I think that taxing cards are often better than they look. Like, it often looks like they're just going to be annoying, but eventually when you get enough of them, or the tax is substantial enough, it's just like, you just can't overcome it, so.
For sure. Okay, my next card is Static Discharge, and this is one of those arena-only cards. It's 1 and a red, sorcery. Static Discharge deals X damage to any target where X is 3 plus number of charge counters on Static Discharge. Then put a perpetual charge counter on this card, and each card named Static Discharge in your hand, library, and graveyard. Okay, so perpetual counters would stay with the card no matter where it is. That's why it's an arena-only mechanic. I mean, you could technically do that in paper play. It's just a lot harder to track. I think it'd get very, very messy. But yeah, I think if you have any way to like bring spells back, this could do a significant amount of damage.
Yeah, I think this was one of the cards that I had on my short list of things that I was like, I don't know how good it's going to be, but it's extremely interesting to like think of ways to abuse this and use this. And it is also in a color that I really enjoy. I think that, if you get a chance to just bring this back with a Planeswalker or like a Torrential Gearhulk or something like that, like things can add up. Wait, does it work? Does it work with Torrential Gearhulk actually?
Oh.
Now that I'm saying it, now I'm questioning myself. Let's see. We deals X damage where 3 plus the number of then put a. Okay, so it does.
Yes, because it would have the counter.
But
on it.
But
it would still put the charge counter on the others.
Right, but it would remove it, so it wouldn't really matter.
But all the other Static Discharges in the deck and graveyard and everywhere will get that counter on it.
Right, but they would have gotten the same level of. Oh! I'm misreading this. You're right. I thought it was saying that you also count those.
No, it's not like I don't. It doesn't work like that. So I think it's when you cast your first Static Discharge, it deals 3 damage, and then you put a counter on every single Static Discharge as long as it's like hand, graveyard, library, whatever.
Sure.
It's not an exile. Then when you cast your next one, another counter is going to go on. So, that one will deal 4 damage, and then the next one that you cast after that's going to be dealing 5 damage, so it just keeps going up. If I'm reading that right.
If this card exiled, it would actually just be snap C-play. Like, it wouldn't even be a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's interesting. What's your next one?
Yeah. Nettle Cyst. It's a 3-mana artifact equipment. Living weapon. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. And it has equip 2. So this one's interesting. I'm interested to see if there's anything that can be done with it. Obviously does not work with Lurrus, which is where we see our Auras deck. But maybe there's something there. Maybe there's not. Kind of cool seeing living weapons come to Arena, though. I don't think we have one yet.
Yeah, I'm going to lose to this card a lot. Like, I'm going to lose to this card so much.
At least they can't play a Lurrus with it.
So? This card's so much better than, like, Lurrus in those decks. Like, just cut your Lurruses and make a better deck. This card's annoying.
Fair.
Is it both? It's artifacts and enchantments?
Yep.
Ugh. I'm going to lose to this card a bunch. This card is going to be massive, and it's, like, living weapon is so good. It's like, finally I killed this stupid creature, and they're like, yeah, that's fine, put it on this dorky ornithopter. And then
yeah, which I guess, it's kind of become a little bit more common that we see the creatures entering with a weapon, but living weapon ones just seem to be a little bit more powerful.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really powerful.
Okay. My final card is Harmonic Prodigy. 1 in a red, creature, human, wizard, prowess. If an ability of a shaman or another wizard you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. So, I remember there was like a wizard deck in Standard.
Dude, I hit Mythic with wizards in Historic and did it and did a podcast on it like right before we started the show up again.
Okay. Yeah. So, the wizards are out there. Maybe this could do something with that. I would be really interested, especially because it seems like you could get some pretty gross combos going pretty fast.
Well, it has like double prowess itself, just on its own, right? Because of
jeez, right. Oh, another wizard. It doesn't.
Oh, all right. Well, it gives all my other wizards double prowess. I'll take it. Yeah. And even like the 2/1. How am I forgetting the name of? I go on this podcast and I just instantly forget the name of the 2/1.
Pyromancer.
Yes.
Or the Chandra.
No. You were right. Is it the Shino Pyromancer? When like that triggers twice, like 2 mana deal 4 and put a 2/1 into play. Like holy crap.
Oh, that's what we're going for here.
Dude, I mean, oh man, double the -1/-1 counters off of my. Oh wait, does that work that way though? It probably doesn't. There's no way it does.
It's an ability.
It is, but I think it's a replacement effect.
Okay.
So I don't think it would work. Maybe it would work. I don't know. Either way, I'm gonna try this. I've been looking for better wizards because you're kind of short on wizards for your wizards lightnings anyway, and does it do activated abilities too?
It just says abilities. So I would assume that means activated abilities.
Because Grim Lava...
I am the worst person to be asking about rules.
That's okay. If an ability of a summoner you control triggers, that ability triggers. Does an activation cause the ability to trigger? That's a better question. Leave a comment. Let us know. I would like to know if my Grim Lavamancers are dealing 4 all of a sudden, but I don't think they are. Cool. I like your cards. I can see all of your cards seeing play, which I don't believe is true of my cards. Should we move on to mine?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. The first card that we were going to talk about is the card that I removed a card from my list to add to my list, and that is Long Tusk Stalker. It is a 1-mana 1/1 cat. So it's already good. Whenever when it enters the battlefield or attacks, you get an energy. You can pay 2 energy, and it perpetually gets +1/+0. You can choose a card in your hand. If you do that, that card also gets +1/+1 perpetually. That's nuts. Like, so already, like, energy aggro decks or energy decks in general are like pretty close to good enough in Historic. The problem is like the format's a little too fast. Like they didn't have anything to do with their early mana other than with attune with Ether, and that kind of sucks. So now you're like getting close to having enough, cheap energy makers to maybe make something like a more aggressive style energy deck work, because we already know like the mid-rangey ones aren't going to work, and that interests me. Like, I hope that they can do more stuff like this, like bring in cards to lift up these parasitic mechanics that they have in Historic, rather than ignoring them forever, because that's kind of the downside of parasitic mechanics. So like, I thought this was a good use of this set, like introducing something that might excite people to get energy going again. I don't know if this card will see play. I don't know if it'll be good enough, but like that ability's strong, so
interested to see if it goes anywhere for sure. So.
Yeah. The next card that I have on my list is Sterling Grove. This is a green and a white for an enchantment. Other enchantments you control have Shroud, and you can pay 1 to sacrifice it to search your library for an enchantment card, reveal it, and then shuffle your library. This card has seen play in all kinds of formats. It is extremely strong. I think I did some looking, and we have another 2 of these style of effects already in, like Enchantress type cards already in Historic. So like this could be the piece that's missing. I don't know. I'm not like a huge Enchantress style player, but this card's really good.
Well, there you go. Enchantress players, comments. Let us know. Is it going to be viable in Historic?
Yeah, I think that it's quite good. I mean, and it goes with one of the cards on your list. So
true.
Next card is a card that we all know is good. That's the Raven Expector. This card is a 2-mana 1/1 for 1 and a white. It's a human soldier. When it enters the battlefield, you put a 1/1 counter on each other human you control, and whenever another human enters the battlefield, you put a 1/1 counter on it. This card has seen modern play. It has seen, I don't know, there might be a Legacy Humans deck for all I know. But this card's quite good. It's also played in Standard, plus play. Anywhere that it's been available, it's seen play. And in all honesty, like, I do think that Humans has been a little bit short of playable in this format, and it is nice when tribes get support. I think that, Elves and Goblins have gotten a lot of support in Historic, so it's kind of nice to see. And honestly, like, White specifically has felt like it's gotten shafted, so seeing this is nice.
Goes with Esper Sentinel.
Does it? Is it a human?
Yeah, it's a human.
Esper Sentinel was a human?
Uh-huh.
Oh, man. Is the other one a human, too?
Uh-huh.
Oh, all right. Well, then humans got a lot of support in this set. The next one, I don't know if it will see play outside of, like, a one-of. I also lost to this card in Standard after putting it on my list, which was really weird. Or, not Standard. Wait. I lost to Goblins in Standard after putting this on my list with a Goblin that I didn't realize was good, that I thought would be better in Historic, is what I should say. Which is like it's like the new 3-mana Lord from the D&D set, that when a Goblin enters the battlefield, I think, you can like pay 2 and then deal damage equal to the number of Goblins and tap it. That card was insane that I didn't realize was going to kick my butt. And this card gives it, and also your Krenko and all of your other Historic Goblins haste, and it gives it to him permanently, so that you don't have to have something like what's the name of the ringleader? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, or no, not ringleader. War boss. Goblin war boss. War chief.
Yeah. Chief. Some type of chief.
Yeah, there we go. We're good at card names. Either way, I think that this card could see like maybe play as a one of in Historic Goblins, And also could open the door for maybe more aggressive and less combo-y Goblin decks, if that is what you're interested in. And finally, we have Goblin Engineer. This card is 1 in a red for a 1/2 Goblin Artificer. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an artifact card, put that into your graveyard, and then shuffle your library. And you can pay a red and tap it, sacrifice an artifact, return an artifact with a converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. I don't think there's anything that you can do with this in Historic right now, but this is just a card that is screaming break me, and that.
And you want to see it broken.
I don't, but I think that, like, those decks are usually pretty fun for, like, 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they also treat Historic in a way where that's okay. Like, it's okay for us to have a broken combo deck for a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it does get broken, I think that could be fun for a little while. Also, if somebody can build like a cool value engine deck out of it, that would be even cooler if it's not broken. Like something where, because like even Star, right? You can just sacrifice your Star to draw a card off of it to put something else into play. Or is it Sphere? One of them's in Historic. It might be Sphere. But like if you can be sacrificing your spheres, drawing cards, putting other artifacts into play, that also sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm really trying. Maybe we can return that living weapon creature.
You could do that, Mikaela. You could do that.
For less.
What
I actually can't think of anything else that like comes to mind in the artifact category. I'm sure there has to be something.
I'm sure there's something. What do you think that, as we kind of talk about these cards and we look at kind of as we talk about these cards and we look at the overall picture for this set, I keep calling this set, but I don't really, this product, like, do you think that it'll have a big impact, or do you think it'll be kind of medium size? Where do you see these cards kind of falling in and impacting the format?
I think what I was seeing was it seems like there's a lot of creature support in this format, which I think it's always going to be like the nature of a Jumpstart product, right? Where you're cracking packs and having these like 1v1 battles. You're gonna want it to be a little bit more creature heavy, because if you just have a whole bunch of spells and packs, it's a little awkward. So yeah, I really see like creature-based decks getting a little bit more of a boost, and that might be a refreshing change for Historic, where I think it's felt a little combo-y as of late. Obviously, we had some bannings to start getting us away from that, but maybe this will shake it up even more.
Yeah, I agree. I like a lot of the kind of the support of like being on the battlefield more. I completely agree. I think that's going to do it. Anything you want to say about these cards kind of before we wrap up?
I have nothing to add. I think Thalia's Lieutenant is probably like really sticking out as kind of the top one.
Yeah, I feel like some of my cards were boring. Like they see play in other formats boring, but I do think that, like you said, look, kind of like we both mentioned, just kind of the lack of support for white. It does seem like they use this as a chance to really help fix that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that is gonna do it for this week. If you get the chance, check out the rest of the Constructed Criticism Network. We've got Sam Black talking about draft. We've got Adam talking about being an MTG parent. We've got Constructed Criticism talking about, constructed. And then we got Common Knowledge talking about, it is the #1 Pauper podcast in Magic fam. You got to check it out. If you also get the chance, give us a follow on the Twitters. It's at Arena Mythicast. You can follow me at Spencer3H. You can follow Mikaela at Mythic Mikaela. And they can find you everywhere there, right, Mikaela? Like from Twitch to, I don't know. I hear you do this like TikTok thing now.
Yeah, I'm making the TikTok thing happen.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite TikTok of yours so far?
Oh my goodness. Now I gotta actually look what I have on my TikTok. I feel like I've just recorded so many so fast. But
I know which one's my
You know
my
what?
favorite.
My favorite was the Nobody's Gonna Know. That was my personal favorite.
Which
But
one's that?
okay, so I made it so it was switch. You know, when you're playing in a skilled event and you build 2 decks
Oh,
and you
the
switch.
sideboard one. Yeah, that one was funny.
Yeah,
That one was funny.
I was really proud of that one.
The one where you can't remember card names was my favorite because it just permanently put that into my brain for this podcast. Obviously,
Hey, you know, if I can make relatable content that makes people laugh, I'm doing what I want to be doing. So
give the podcast a like, a subscription, a review, whatever you can do to help spread the show, and share it with your friends. Like if this podcast is improving Magic for you, let the people know. Thank you everybody so much for listening this week. Don't forget to share our sponsors. And Mikaela, I'll see you in a week to talk about more Magics. Probably before then. We actually have to decide what we're talking about for the next, few episodes. So
true.
So thank you everybody so much. We'll see you all next time.